Have you ever wanted to make a slingshot and don't know exactly how to do it? What do you do? Well, what I did was started working with wood. After working with wood, I started trying HDPE. After HDPE, I figured I'd try something else. So guess what? I got some G10. So we're gonna give it a shot, and I'm gonna take you along with me on this journey, so you can see exactly what I went through, and maybe that will help you if you ever decide to go ahead and try this yourself. So here we go. So this video is pretty slow paced. Normally I try and move it along a little bit faster, try and do a little more editing to keep you interested. But you know, also I think this is probably a video that's going to be very, was it niche? Like it's only directed at a smaller audience. It's not a broad audience. This is for people who have already dabbled in making slingshots and want to see how other people have done it. And then this is also based on entry level stuff, guys. There's many things that I'm going to learn the farther I get into this. But I want you guys to stay positive and know that you can do it too. And even the mistakes, you learn from them and you get better with them, and then you upgrade your tools and you upgrade your knowledge, you talk to people, you network, and then slowly you become a good builder. I am nowhere near the level of calling myself good, but I am a dabbler, and you can dabble with me. So what I got was a couple of slices of G10. I got this here ivory white, I guess it's called, and then I got a blue, and then I got a yellow. I picked a couple of colors that I thought would be neat to work with. You know, you can pick whatever you'd like. Where I got these from was a place called Maker's Material something, right? I'm going to put a link down in the description for them too. G10 can be pricey. So I spent about 55 bucks on these 3 slices here. I'll just lay it out to you, right? So I'm in the whole 55 bucks for a couple of small pieces of thin G10. A G10 slingshot from a well-known maker can bring upwards, possibly up to double or triple of what I paid for these materials. I would gladly, and I have gladly paid my hard-earned money to good makers, well-known makers, and even some not so well-known for good quality slingshots. So 55 bucks to dabble is not that bad in my opinion. I did buy some blades for my saw. What I use is a Blade Runner saw. It's kind of like a jigsaw, but upside down, so the handle or the blade sticks up and you have a flat table to work with. I got some carbide bits here, not bits, carbide blades. I didn't get an exact link at the time that I bought these, right? I do have a link for some better ones now. But I'm going to try this because I already have them. So I bought a couple of those blades that I think are going to work for this material here. All right, so we're slowly getting along here, right? So we got some material, we got some blades. The guys that work with this stuff have told me that it is not something that you're going to want to breathe in, right? So in my garage here in the middle of winter, when it's 10 degrees outside, I have heat to bring it back up to, we're at like 44 degrees now. So it's warm enough in here. You know, you don't feel bad. Your fingers don't hurt or anything. So you can work comfortably, but I'm not going to be opening any windows for ventilation necessarily. I use a shop vac sort of system, and I'm going to use a ventilator because I don't want to breathe this crap in. I've smoked cigarettes for a long time in my life. I vaped for quite a few years, so I've done lots of damage to my lungs and throat throughout the years, but I don't want to purposely do any more damage to it anymore. So take precautions for that. Make sure you got a well-ventilated area and also a ventilation mask. And I not like one of those little tiny ones that the COVID people wore, but more, like a respirator with some filters and stuff, because I don't want to breathe that crap in. So there we go. We got a saw, we got a blade, we got some material, we got safety precautions. What do you need next? Well, you got to have a design, right? You got to figure out what is going to work for me to make. Do I copy somebody else's design directly just to get my feet wet and see how it works? Or do I come up with my own? I'm going to show you what I'm going to use for a design, and I'm going to tell you how I got to this conclusion. I took two slingshots that I like to a certain degree. This one is made by Ethan Martin, and it's called the Rooster. This is a very unique design, and that's what intrigued me. I don't necessarily shoot this one that much because there's some things that I would change on it that would make me feel better as a shooter here, right? So the handle sweeping up is how I like it, but it feels weird to me with this cutout here. I feel like it's made to be shot more like this, but I don't like how the handle sweeps in that direction. So I like the uniqueness of this. I like this wing here. And I like the half thumb brace and half kind of pinch. So I stole parts of this design. The second one is the Wendigo, which is a design by Chuck and Steel. This one here is one of their newer versions because it's made by Wasp. And then Wasp, they had Wasp make it, but they sell it, and it's Omega Slings. Sorry about that. It's Omega Slings supplies it. You can get it from Wasp too if you're not in the States, but if you're in the US, get it at omegaslingsUSA.com. That's my commercial. Sorry, I always got to mention it because those guys have had my back from day one. We've become good friends, and Mikey and Chuckin are super cool dudes, and they have supported everything that I do from day one, so I always have to pay back support. So get your stuff from those guys. But this is the other design. This is the Wendigo. There is nothing that I would change on this slingshot, period. I shoot this one very well. It feels very good. But what I wanted to do was kind of take this and just steal a couple of little aspects from it. So these two shoved together, and what I came up with was my version, which is this one here. I know it's a little blurry because I've got my phone on cinematic mode. Cinematic. Because I like the way that looks, the way I'm talking right here. So you're going to get a little bit better picture of this slingshot when we dive in a little further. But either way, that's me paying, what is it? Homage? Me paying tribute. Yeah, tribute. There you go. Tribute to those two dudes. And neither one of them are going to bitch about what I'm doing here. I can tell you that. So the design, because of the Wendigo and the Rooster, I called it the WR1. Wendigo, Roost, WR1. The dimensions that this one came out is 90 millimeter fork width, 25 millimeter fork tips, and it actually is about 135 total length. It fits my hand great. I tried to design it to where it could fit multiple people's hands. If you have giant mitts, maybe won't fit your hands too well. I'm not sure. My hands are average, I guess. All right, so we got all that out of the way, right? We know what tools we need. We know what materials we have. We know how much the materials cost. These blades, I'll have to look up. I can't remember how much they cost. And then I do have a video about this saw that I use, so maybe I'll post that at the end also. So we're not in it too far. The things that I don't know is, I don't know how I'm going to smooth the edges on this thing because I don't have a router. I'm going to attempt some sanding, and we're going to see how that goes. I don't know if that's going to work. We're going to find out, though, I can tell you that. So I'm going to change my camera angle here, and now we're going to go down to the workbench and see what we have to do to get this to work. All right, so I'm just gonna pick one of these. I'm gonna do, I guess I'll start with yellow, why not, right? So if I were to place it all the way into this corner here, I know I could get, you know, 1, 2, it looks like. I could get 3 if they're straight up and down. I don't know if I should angle them, so it doesn't seem like angling it would do any different. Maybe flipping it over. So let's say, you know, I could do 1, maybe I could squeeze it in a little, I don't know. So this is, let's just leave that there as a marker. So that's like a 90. All right, let's butt this all the way up to the end. So now we know down here, this whole area is void. I don't know if I could squeeze. See, at an angle, it won't work for this setup here. So I'm gonna have waste, but I'm trying to figure out how to have the least amount of waste. But I originally thought that I could get at least, you know, 3 of these out of here. I think the things that I could do with the waste is I could make maybe scales for a different one, or, you know, use it. Maybe I could make some beads. You know how some of the cool guys put those beads in there. So I don't know, but I know I'm gonna have to start with a 90. So I'm gonna cut it and see. So we're gonna chop it up. I think that I'm gonna mark a very small mark with like a Sharpie. I don't know if it's gonna bleed into this or not, so we're gonna find that out too. So I'm gonna make a small little mark there, and then we're gonna cut this. I'm gonna do a straight cut, I think, just so I have a piece, like a rectangle to work with. We're gonna try this, let's see. All right guys, so I'm gonna have to change this blade out here. So on this saw here, you loosen this guy up, and then you pull that up there, take this little plate off, press this button, slide it around, blade comes out, new blade goes in. Put the cover back on, drop your blade down, tighten it up. Nice and easy, right? All right, you have to adjust your height. So I'm gonna adjust this arm down so I can get a good contact on this thing. I'm gonna put this bar on here this time around. I don't always use this, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this bar on here. I don't trust these measurements because I can't see them that well. So I'm just gonna use a ruler from the blade. And I'm gonna put it at 90. Sometimes I can't see that good, guys. I'm not as young as I used to be. So what I do is I have this streamlight here, and it's got this thing on there that you can put on your hat. So I'm just gonna put this up here and let there be light. All right, so now we can see 90 is right there. So I'm gonna take a little bit of account for the blade thickness. And we're going to try and get it measured out correctly. All right, so if everything is correct, that should be right. I do have this thing here. It's like a guide. We're going to try and use that also. And then basically now we should just be able to put our mask on and go to town. So we have a first cut, and we have this now. Is this good or bad? I don't know. One thing I noticed is when I was cutting this, I didn't notice this till afterwards, but yeah, I got a little mark on there. So there's something on my saw maybe that caused that to happen. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I can probably figure out how to get rid of that later on. But we do have a nice chunk here. Second thing I also am going to do is I'm going to use this as a template instead of that cardboard thing. Just because this is my favorite one out of all the ones I've made. They're minor differences, but this is my favorite one. So I'm going to try and get this paracord wrap off of here without destroying the it too much because I want to reuse this color. But I think I can probably peel that off. So I'm going to work on that for a minute. I'll be right back. All right, so now I have the design that I want to use as a template here. I'm going to use this. The thing that I don't know is how I'm going to transfer that design onto the G10. I think I can use a Sharpie. What do you think? So I'm going to trace this onto here, and then we're going to see what that looks like. Okay, I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but we have a very crude mock-up here of what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out off camera, and then we're gonna go ahead and take a look and see what it looks like. We have a rough cut here, and it actually came out pretty decent. There's a couple of things I see that I need to take care of here. Not much though. So I think overall I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Now I need to smooth it up quite a bit and maybe take care of a few angles here. All this marker on here, I don't know how that's going to work. I'm going to try and take some of it off and see if it transfers over to anything else. And I got some definite markings here from my saw, so I need to figure out what's causing that. I don't know if I need to just clean the surface of my saw. And also, as you can see on the edges, I believe that's from me taking too long to cut, maybe, because I'm getting some burning kind of marks. I think that will be taken care of when I try and sand this. Because like I said, I don't have a router, so I'm going to try and sand this, and we're going to try and get it down to looking better. And then I have to figure out how I'm going to attach clips or just keep it a wrap and tuck sort of deal. Overall, the process is going about how I planned. Next step would be to shape it. I think what I'm going to do is use like a Dremel tool to try and smooth some of these corners, and I kind of want to dig this out a little bit more. So I think a Dremel tool is probably going to be the best option for this. With the sanding disc, I'm going to give it a go, see how it works. All right, now I have it hand shaped. Pretty much how I want it. Yeah, I think I like the way it is. So that's going to be fine the way it is. Everything is smooth as I want it. I got all those burn marks off from the blade or whatever that was. So now I need to figure out how to smooth the edge, because I don't want a crisp, a hard right angle, I guess. I want it to be smooth around the edges, so when you shoot it, it doesn't dig into places where it shouldn't be digging in. So I'm going to try some hand sandpaper, just because I don't have much else to work with. I'm going to start with a pretty strong grit, I guess. I'm going to start with a 150 grit, and I'm going to go ahead and just hand sand it. I'm going to see what happens. I don't know if I should be wet sanding this or what. So yeah, we're learning here, guys. We're learning. I'm going to hand sand this a little bit, and I'm going to see how it turns out. All right, so the hand sanding worked. I don't know how good this is coming out on camera here, but it's pretty smooth. I do need to put some band grooves in there, so this should be fun. I think I'm going to try a file. We're going to see how that goes. I'm just going to try and level it up close to the top here. We have band grooves in there now, and you can see those came out pretty decent. I didn't do any slanted tips or anything, just pretty basic stuff here, because I wanted to just learn how to work with G10. And so far it's going pretty smooth. I think I'm going to try and make a bead out of one of those small pieces over there. And then I'm going to also drill a hole in here, because I do want a lanyard. So that's next. I did drill a lanyard hole in here, which I like. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of paracord on here to dress this up, and then we're going to band it up and we're going to shoot it. Smooth so far. All right guys, here it is out in the sun. This is the finished product. This is the WR1 in G10. Let's get over to the catch box and get some shots through it. So I did paracord it there, and then I put my Ranger bead that I normally do with a single wrapped paracord down here, and I have a can right up there. This is the absolute first shots with this fresh G10 build. I sure hope I hit the can the first shot. Absolutely love it. Second shot's a miss. I don't care. I'm so excited right now for this coming out. This is amazing. The joy of making these is downright fabulous. Something that you can actually conceive in your brain and then make it actually happen, and actually comes out the way I want it to, is downright, I don't know, makes me happy as a clam. Feels great, shoots great. I think this is a keeper here. All right guys, well thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. This was my first G10 build. Thanks for suffering through it with me. Now you guys know that you can do this with minimal tools also, and have a good product at the end. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more.